introduction. Okay, do I have to stand like this the whole time? That's better. My name is Vicki, and hi. That's really cool. I called it Yana. You are not alone. And it's a support group for self-injury. What's self-injury? Self-inflicted violence, cutting, burning, stabbing, jabbing. All to yourself is a way to cope. Now, I see all walks of life here, all different ages. I was once approached by a 72-year-old woman about 10 years ago, pointed at my scars and said, I used to do that. So I know that it crosses all ages, all races, all backgrounds. But before I get into all that, what is self-injury? Self-harm, self-inflicted violence. It's anything that you're doing to yourself, to your skin, to your body, as a way of coping ultimately. Cut, burn, cigarette burns, cut with glass, cut with pins. I'm not trying to trigger anyone, but there's people in the room that don't understand or don't know what it is. And it's not this gothic thing. It's not a teen thing. I mean, I know I look pretty young. I'm 44. Proud of it. I started when I was 8 years old with a brick. I wanted to run in front of a car. I wanted to hurt myself. I had so much yuck and gunk and issues inside that I didn't quite know how to deal. Really didn't know how to deal with pain, and there's a lot of abuse that I had. I'm not going to get into all that because I'm here to talk about self-injury. But self-injury is no different than gambling. It's no different than alcohol addiction, sex addiction. It's no different than any of those unhealthy things that we do. By the way, I've done all that. It's no different than any of those things that we do to cope. We're running from something. But I'm here to talk about self-injury, and a couple things I want to say. First and foremost, I see a lot of gluten back there, so you're all like, so I'm going to do some giveaways. How's that sound? All right. When I started at age 8, it progressed to cutting and burning. And the crux of my self-injury, I was in hospitals, I was in ERs, in and out psychiatric units, and that doesn't mean that just because someone's not in the hospital, doesn't mean that they don't have a problem. Not everyone does go to the hospital. As a matter of fact, I learned how to stay out because it's a scary place. Not everyone understood. So I have a couple things on that light topic. I've got some pens because things are so heavy. We have smiley face pens because most people come in and life sucks. Their circumstances stink. It's not good. Well, I'm going to throw some pens, hope I don't hit anybody in the eye. This is a self-injury support. Here we go. I'm going to give this to Michelle so you can go around and give a couple people. One of my favorite sayings, it's not on the cup, so I guess saying that won't work. All right, cups. Don't get hurt. There we go. I'm the founder of Launching Point, which is a self-injury support and resource center. Hey, Michelle. And it came out of really just not having anything available. I began after, well, let me just back up a little bit. I'm getting all excited for the giveaways. When I was in my teens and adult years, I began cutting and burning and had third-degree scars on both my arms. And the crux of my self-injury of cutting and burning is basically from 1993 to 1996. Being in and out of psychiatric units and so forth, I really didn't see a future. Actually, I didn't feel like I had a future. I was on 17 medications a day. I had 13 mental disorders. And that's not to say that everyone that cuts or burns has a mental disorder. It doesn't. I'm just talking about my personal experience and how it was for me. I got free and of a life that was not good. Waking up, oh, there's so much I want to say, but there's young people in here. Waking up in a mess, in a pool of mess. It wasn't good. Now, think of those of you that are familiar with drinking and drugging and other stuff. Think of your worst day. Think of your friend's worst day. Multiply that by 10. Because what happens is when you start breaking into your own skin, you're going into a different level of craziness, to be honest with you. And by 1995, I was an absolute mess. I did develop a faith in God. Long story, so I'm just going to give a little bullet points. My mom was my biggest fan. She was an amazing woman. She ended her life by suicide in January of 2007, sadly. She just didn't know how awesome and wonderful she was to people and to herself and in the world. And just with all that, in 2005, I said, people would contact me and I said, there's no self-injury support group. There's nothing in the area. People would contact me, hospitals, doctors, and I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, well, Vicki, you speak at places, you go to places. I'm like, uh-huh. Sometimes things are so obvious. I was like, oh, light bulb moment. I should start a group. Great idea. Went to my pastor and said, hey, you know, that room upstairs, we're not using it. It's collecting a lot of dust. Can I use it? Started off as BSSI, Breaking the Silence of Self-Injury. It's been going strong since 2005, November. We were the first self-injury support group in New Jersey. 2 years later, in 2007, Launching Point was birthed. We're a 501c3 charity. And we have support groups. It's now called Beyond Bandages. And we have recovery programs and different things that we offer. Because no life is worthless. No life is hopeless. And, you know, you look at me, if I just walked in, okay, I got matching shoes and the hat, but you wouldn't know by looking at me that I've got third-degree burn scars, or that I got scars on my legs, or anything like that. But no matter, even if you don't have a scar, or if it's superficial, what's on the inside is not superficial. It's the same ick, what I like to call the inner owie. It's the same stuff on the inside that causes maybe you to have a couple of drinks or drugs or whatever it is. I spent 20 years on and off cutting, burning, hitting, pulling my hair, came close to breaking bones. And there's hope. As long as there's breath in someone's body, there's hope. And Launching Point, it's a tool. Beyond Bandages, it's a tool that helps people find out that they're okay the way they are. How we deal with things, no, not so much. But they get to the place where, you know, like my mom would say to me, she said, Vicki, you have so much in you, so much negativity, and this is way before, not like last year. And she said, you have so much, you just plow in there and plow in there. If you would only turn that for good. Well, I am now. And she was so proud of me. And I actually segueing to my mom. Her name was Anna. And I said to her in 2003, because I've been helping and just going to hospitals and talking to people since 2001, I started a website which is now nomoreselfinjury.com. It was endallthepain.com. And that's my mom, Anna. And I said, Mom, I don't really have a heart for moms and dads and husbands and wives and people who cut and burn. Just being honest. And I don't have that experience. Will you write something? And I'm so thankful because we've given out thousands of these copies. They're free. Just to help, the kids aren't a freak. The adult isn't a freak who cuts. You know, my mom said, her initial reaction was, my beautiful daughter is harming, cutting her body and da-da-da. We don't feel that way. We don't feel we're beautiful at that time. So her saying that meant nothing to me. But now I look back, and this has been helping moms and dads. Our support group ranges from the ages of 14 to 50. This is not a teen thing. This isn't a emo or goth. It's, most of the time, we're not taught healthy coping mechanisms. I mean, how many of us foresee problems at age 5 and age 6 and unsurmountable circumstances at that age? We don't. I look at my son, he's 8 years old, his name's Jack Daniel. Yes, it is. Yeah, it's good. We don't even drink. Has a great meaning, though. And that's a story I'm sticking with. But I look at him, and I'm so happy that I'm free of mental illness. I'm so happy. Now, again, just because you cut doesn't mean you have mental illness. And I'll say that to every time because I want people getting confused. But I am so happy that I'm clear-minded, that I can love him and take him out places. I have a great husband. I'm a lot to handle. God love him. And I'm so grateful. If I can leave you, I don't even know where I am on time, but how am I doing? Okay? 5 minutes. Oh, happy day. I'm going to do questions and answers in a minute. But if I can leave you with one thing, other than my freebies that are hanging out over there, I have a saying that I always say. It's not just, don't judge a person by their scars. There's a lot of people that have tattoos. A lot of people that have, body modifications like plugs in their ears or different things. Or maybe you've heard of suspension, which is the hooks go in the skin and you pull. All those things, I can go on and on, but I don't want to freak out. Unless you're doing it to yourself, by yourself, that's not self-injury. And you know what? Okay, if that person gets tons of tattoos, who are we to judge them? Who are we to judge a person if they got scars? Maybe there's a story behind that scar. I'm not talking about redneck. Maybe there's a story behind the scar. If you see a boy, a girl, a mother, a father, anyone that has scars, don't be afraid. Maybe they just need a hug. They just got to hug it out. Maybe they just got to say, hey, you know what? I don't get it. I don't understand. Don't pretend to. Just say, but I got somebody that does understand.